some of God's greatest work is seen, not heard. Not heard. The skies preach a silent sermon. The consistency of the solar system says something to us about the nature of life, that it is cyclical. Some of the things that you think are circumstantial in your life are actually cyclical. I think that's a big part of maturity, is learning what's cyclical and not just running around from situation to situation, but understanding the cycles that create the situations. Because if you don't understand the cycle that creates a situation, you will be dealing with situation after situation after situation after situation. I don't need to be a science teacher to explain to you that the solar system operates on cycles. You understand we're making a trip right now. We do it every 365. Sometimes it takes us 366 on those leap years, but we're making a cycle. David said that the heavens are declaring the glory of God, and they keep on doing it consistently in a cycle. And although we know that technically he's not explaining how the universe works, he's giving us a picture of the sun in its circuit. The whole text kind of has this theme of it, that we're going round and round and round and round. He ends the psalm saying, "May the words of my mouth and the meditations of my heart be acceptable in thy sight, O Lord, my strength and my redeemer." He starts with the solar system. The heavens declare the glory of God. And he ends with his soul. So from the solar system to his soul, everything is on a cycle. It's a cycle. Whatever you're thinking about right now, it's because of a cycle. In fact, I think it's very, very good to start your day with God, because it starts the cycle from the right place. I think that's why it's really important. If you can, read a Bible verse before you read a Facebook post, because it's just a better, purer cycle. If it's possible, before you check email, check your knee-mail. I just threw that in for the corny people. I would never say that. A lesser preacher would say something like that. Touch somebody, say it's a cycle. And he uses this phrase, the meditation of my heart. Y'all get it together. Wasn't that bad? Meditation is not a hot yoga term. Meditation is not a term reserved exclusively for Eastern religion. Meditation actually in Hebrew is a musical term. I bet you didn't know that. That's why I'm telling you. It's like David. Okay, here's where I learned about what meditation is. Because for years and years and years and years, I thought that what I said to God was my prayer life. And so I say a lot of stuff to God, and I would say all this stuff that I need God to do. And sometimes I would lose focus, and I had prayer lists and prayer thoughts and all that, and it felt real boring. I didn't realize that there were some things that God wanted to say to me. I didn't understand the power of the silent sermon until I went to see Ed Sheeran in concert. And I have nothing against Ed Sheeran. In fact, I think Ed Sheeran has written some beautiful songs. How many would agree that Ed Sheeran has written some beautiful songs? 3 of you. But I'm just saying, this is not a rant against Ed Sheeran, but I went to see Ed Sheeran because Holly likes boring music, and Ed Sheeran had an interesting way of doing a concert. And it was surprising to me because Ed Sheeran did a whole concert without a band. A whole 90-minute set in an arena. When I say it was boring, now maybe I'm just spoiled because I pastor a church with the greatest musicians you will find anywhere in the city, the state, come on GTA, the continent, but not Ed. No. No, not Ed. Ed Sheeran didn't even have a band. No bass player, no kick drum, no electric guitar. 90 minutes of him with his guitar and his accent. And he had this little pedal. Come here, David. David's going to help me. Yeah, give it up for David. This is the other King David. This is David Leota, the king of the strings, the king of the 6-string guitar. David's going to do his best Ed Sheeran impersonation. Because what Ed Sheeran did, I had to ask somebody the first time I saw Ed do this. I didn't know what it was. Because I saw him, he would play something, and then he would stop playing it, but it kept going. And that's because he had one of these, right?
That's right.
It's called a loop station. If you're taking notes, you look like you're waiting for something to write down at some point in this sermon. Write down the word loop, loop, loop. And show us how the looping station works, because he doesn't have a drummer, because apparently he's cheap. So instead of hiring a drummer, he made his own drums on the guitar. Just give him an example. See what he did? He looped it. Now we got a beat. See, you can move to that a little bit. But he's not doing anything. But he set something in motion, and there it is. Now put something on top of it. Loop something else. Ooh, that's nice, David. I like that jazzy, that major 7 stuff. Ooh, that's pretty soulful for a white boy. That's good, David. Do something else on it. All we're doing, stacking the loops. That's all we're doing. Come on, that's too sexy for church, David. Take it all the way back down. Take something out. Take that out. All started. All these layers started with a loop. Right. With a loop. Right. Now what I found out, David, how you make it stop? No. Because sometimes I wonder that about my heart. How do I make it stop?
Yeah.
Because I get stuck in a loop.
Right. That's right.
You ever been stuck in a loop?
Yeah.
I'm talking about in your mind now, not the guitar or anything like that. You ever been stuck in a loop where you find yourself in an absolute state of panic that started, watch this, with a silent sermon? Moses isn't the only one who preached silent sermons. Lazarus isn't the only one who preached silent sermons. Jesus isn't the only one who preached a silent sermon. David isn't the only one who preached a silent sermon. Not only do the stars and the sun and the skies and the solar system preach a silent sermon, I got bad news for you. The devil preaches silent sermons. He gets you in a loop. I'm done with you, David. Thank you so much. Give him a hand. Our very own Ed Sheeran. You ever been stuck in a loop of lies? Please talk to me. I feel awful lonely up here. Concord, they're giving me no love. You don't admit it, but some of your relationships went off track. Not because of what was said in the relationship, but because of what was not said, what you started saying to yourself. He said within himself. That's what the rich man did in the parable when he said to himself. I'll build many barns. I'll take life easy. He didn't know that very night his life would be required. He said to himself, it matters where you start with what you think about. And self is a very small sun for your life to orbit around. It's a very limited loop. Self is a very small scale to see the world in. In fact, sing with me. Do, re, mi, me. I'm just me singing the song me that many of us have been singing all week. Me. What's your favorite meditation? Me. What are they thinking about? Me. When is anybody ever going to notice? Me. I changed the key, but it's still about me. Sometimes I can find a way to make anything about me. Me. Come on, let's have choir practice. Let the words of my mouth and the meditation of my heart, me. I don't think it's a hit, Ella. I don't think anybody's going to buy the album. I don't think it's going to bring me joy. I don't think it's going to bring me peace. I don't think I'm going to figure out a solution if I start with myself. I need a new loop. I said I need a new loop. Some of you came to church today, not just to hear a sermon, but to preach one to yourself. Why don't you start with your source and not with yourself? Now unto him, come on, who is able, shout uptown, to do immeasurably more than I ask or imagine. I'm tired of that track. Me. I thought about singing it till it wasn't funny anymore, and it sounds like we're already at that point. I know how long it would take. How long will it take until you change that meditation, realizing that if you start with yourself, you stay in yourself, and you will always be limited by who you are. But when you start with the great I am, David said, who's that? They said, I think his name's Goliath. David said, I'll fight him. Saul said, you're small. David said, I'm not coming against him in myself or in my name, but I come against you in the name of the Lord. The skies declare the glory of God. Notice David did not start with what was in his heart. You start with what's in your heart, you'll scare yourself to death. That's a horror movie, to start with what's in your heart. I was going to preach one time, and the guy who invited me, I'd never been to his church before. He said, just share what's on your heart. I said, oh no, you don't want me to do that. I'm going to share what's in heaven. Because if I tell you what's in my heart, it won't help any of us. So I don't start my meditation with what's in myself. I noticed that every meditation, and again, don't think meditation. Think about the loop. Think about the lines that loop over and over again in the way that you think. Think about how you have this subtle way, if you let yourself, into turning every interaction into a stage on which you are the star. I don't do that. I don't like to be noticed. I don't do that. I don't like people to even look at me. I'm not that type of person. This must be a preacher thing. No, I promise you, you talk too much sometimes. I promise you, some of the stuff that you post, oh, you didn't think I was talking about your Instagram feed, did you? I promise you, some of you need to go home and change the bio on your Instagram, and it should just say what it's really all about. Me. Just give us an expectation of what's going to happen on that feed. When you're easily offended, when everything's an insult. Did you see how they looked at me? They weren't looking at you. They were thinking about dinner. They have not bought groceries this week, and their mom has cancer. Could you get outside yourself and think about something bigger? The skies declare the glory of God, people. Life is bigger than what happens in here.